Okay, now we will discuss another application of the counters. Before discussing that application, first we will discuss few terminology of the clock cycle. So, as we have discussed, a clock cycle or clock signal is a square pulse. In square pulse, there is a term called as duty cycle. Duty cycle is a ratio of the pulse width to the period. So, you can consider what is the duty cycle from this figure. The pulse width is the width for which the clock cycle is positive, or you can say at high level, right? So, and we have already discussed many times that a period in which one clock cycle is completed, that is called as period, or you can say clock period. So, duty cycle is a ratio between the pulse width and the period, right? So, it means by how much percentage the clock remains high level in a particular period. That is, so you can consider the duty cycle is in a percentage, right? Duty cycle is in a percentage. For how many percentage the clock cycle remains high in the one clock period. So you can understand different duty cycle from this figure. Fine. In the first case, the clock is remaining high level at for 50% and 50% at low level. So the duty cycle is 50%. In the second case, the clock is remaining high for 75% times in one clock period. Please note, we are talking about one clock period. So in one clock period, 75% times high, 25% low. So the duty cycle of this becomes 75%. In the third case, it remains high for only for 25% and low for 75%. So duty cycle is 25%. Why we are discussing these different types of duty cycle? Because the next application of the counter we are going to discuss is how we can generate a signal with different duty cycles, right? How we can generate a clock signal with different duty cycles. This is one thing. Second thing is the frequency. So, okay, let me start. First is generating different generating different timing signals, fine. So we are going to use the counters to do it. Okay, I will draw the diagram, I will draw the circuit, then we'll discuss. Probably you will get an idea that how actually it's going on. Okay, so as I have already discussed, what we want to do, we want to change the duty cycle. We want to change the duty cycle. Fine. So, okay, let me use an counter here. Suppose I am using a modulo 8 counter. Fine. So, there would be 3-bit output. Fine. And okay, I am feeding this 3-bit output to a decoder. Right. A binary decoder. Fine. Now probably so there would be, if it's in a 3 input decoder, how many outputs would be there? 2 to the power 3, right? So there would be 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me number them: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there would be a clock, there would be an enable signal here. Fine. Okay, that's fine. We can skip those details about the modulo 8 counter. You can draw those things. Okay, now you are familiar with this. Okay, also consider this is in a binary modulo 8 counter. Whenever we are discussing a modulo 8 counter or a general counter, that means we are talking about the binary counter, not any other gray or ring counter, right? So it's in a binary modulo 8 counter. Now you are familiar with the functionality of this modulo 8 counter. What will happen? Whenever we will start this modulo 8 counter, it will start from 0. It will produce 0. Then in the next clock cycle, it will produce 1, 2 up to 7, and then it will come back to 0, because it is a modulo 8 counter. So it will count from 0 to 7 and come back to 0. So you can consider in every clock cycle. Okay, let me draw a clock here first. Okay, let me draw a clock signal here. Okay, so this is our clock signal. Fine. As we have discussed, we are going to we want to produce signals with different uh, duty cycle. Okay, now if we are going to use these two components, what will happen in at the output of the binary decoder? What will happen? We know that if we will apply 0, the output 0 will be enabled, right? That means there would be 1 at the this 0th output would be 1 if we will apply 0 at the input side to the binary decoder. If we will apply 1, the first, that means the this output, the second output will be 1, or you can say first output, not second, because we are starting from 0. Please do not get confused about these things. So whatever we are applying here, 0 to 7, correspondingly one output would be active, right? Okay, now okay, let me give you an idea. Suppose I am going to use an flip flop here, SR flip flop. Fine, I think you are familiar with the SR flip flop functionality. The SR flip flop produces, let me denote the output of this flip flop as an Q. SR flip flop, we know if S and R equals to 0, 0, Q will not change. If S equals to 1, R equals to 0, Q will be 1. If S equals to 0, R equals to 1, Q would be 0. You know? So, suppose this is my one signal. This is my one signal with some particular duty cycle. And suppose I want to produce a signal. I apply the zeroth input to the zeroth output to the S input here, and the second output to the R. Fine. Can you analyze what will happen? Okay, let me draw it here. TS0 signal here. I am assuming every component we are talking about is in a positive edge triggered, right? So your your counter is also in a positive edge trigger component, and your SR flip flop is also in positive edge triggered component. So when the zeroth cycle will come, okay, let me denote them: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At this positive edge trigger cell, what will happen? Okay, we can apply the same clock signal to the SR flip flop as well. Fine. So when this zeroth clock, the first positive edge trigger will come at the SR flip flop, no output will be active, right? Because we have not applied anything. So we can say that your binary decoder is at the disable mode first, right? So this enable pin will be 1 only if there isn't some output from the counter. So in the first clock cycle, there is the flip flop has not been started, so Q will remain 0, right? Q will remain 0. Fine. At least at particular this time. Fine. So till the next positive edge triggering is what will, why it's going on, you can consider. When the first positive edge trigger will occur, actually the modulo 8 counter will take one clock cycle or the first positive edge trigger event to produce 0 at the output. So when we will produce 0 here, now the 0th output will be 1, right? So this one, when we will apply 1 here at the input S, the Q will become 1 in the next positive edge triggering event, right? That's why when the modulo 8 counter will produce 0 at this positive edge triggering event, this TS0 will become 1 in the next positive triggering event, right? Because although in the same clock cycle in this duration, this 0 will reach to the binary decoder, it will reach to the S, but the impact of this change of S will arise in the next clock cycle, right? Next positive trigger event. So at this time, now this zeroth output would become 1. We have applied to the input SR flip flop S. So S become 1, R equals to 0. So output would be 1 now. Output would be 1 now. Fine. So this would remain 1 at least for one clock cycle. Now what will happen? The counter will jump to the next state. That means 1. That means the zeroth output would be 0, first output would be 1 and second output would be 0. That means S and R equals to 0 0. S and R equals to 0 0. In that case your Q will remain Q. You can say Q plus 1 remain Q. That means it is not going to change. So it will remain same for the next clock cycle as well. Now the counter will shift to the next state, that is 2. That means your second output will become 1 and these two output will become 0. That means the value of S becomes 0, R becomes 1. In that case Q plus becomes 0, right? So okay, so Q plus 1 becomes 0. After that your S is not going to become 1 before the 7th clock cycle. That means in this complete clock cycle, in this complete till the 7, right, this TS0 is going to be low. That means we have generated a signal for which it remains high for 2 clock cycles, right? Okay, suppose I want to produce a signal for which it remains high for 4 clock cycle. It remains high for 4 clock cycle. So again let me use an SR flip-flop here. I'm assuming that you are able to understand what I am doing here. First of all, you should know what is the objective. We want to produce signals with different duty cycle, right? In this case, although the frequency is not same, the frequency of the clock is not same with the TH0. You can consider that the frequency of TH0 is now 1 by 8, right? Because in 1 by 8, this TH0 will complete one cycle, and in the next 8 clock cycles again it will repeat the same pattern. So point is that now what will be the duty cycle of this one? If you will consider what will be the duty cycle of TS0, it is remaining high for 2 clock cycles among 8 clock cycles, right? So you can say it is 2 by 8%. Fine. So you can say it's a 25%. So it's a 25% duty cycle signal. It's a 25% duty cycle signal. Fine. Now I want to produce a signal with 50% duty cycle. I think you should be able to analyze what you can do now. The point is you have to apply the input S and R such that your TS1 changes only after 4 clock cycles. So there should be a gap of 4 clock cycles between S and R, right? So suppose if you are applying 3 to S, fine. Okay, now let's check what will happen at TS1. Of course, in the first clock cycle, it is also going to be 0. Now 1, there would be no impact. 2, no impact, right? Now when the 3 will become 1, okay, when 3 will become 1, so okay, it will go to the 4th clock cycle, right? So in the 0th clock cycle, nothing will reach. In the at this positive triggering event, your counter value 0 will reach to the this 0th output will become 1. Then at this point the first output would become 1. At this point second output would become 1. At this point the third output would become 1, right? So when the third output would become 1, your TS1 will go high. Fine. Now we want to produce a signal for 4 clock cycle. So what we will do, we want to keep this TS1 high for all the remaining clock cycles, right? So okay, one thing you can update here is that although only 4 clock cycles are remaining here, so either if you will apply this 7th one here after 3, 4, 5 and 6, yes, okay. So 4, 5, 6 and 7 in the 8th clock cycle it will go high. So you can apply this 7th output to your R input. So there is a difference between S and R of 4 clocks, and that's how you can produce a signal of 50% duty cycle. Okay, 50% duty cycle, that's what I want to write here, right? 50% duty cycle. I think it is a very simple, easy application how we can produce different signals with different duty cycles using we are using three components here: one counter, one decoder, and SR flip-flop. One SR flip-flop for separate signal, right? So if you want, okay, you can use the same output to the multiple. We can also produce the 50% duty cycle in this manner as well. We can connect this 0th input to S, and then after 3 clock cycle we can connect this 4 to RR, right? That is also okay, means you can use any output multiple times. Only thing is that the output load of that output connection will increase. That's okay. So this is how we can generate different duty cycle signals. This is one more application of the counter. In the next case, what will happen? Okay, first of all, let me discuss what is the frequency of TS0 and TS1. This is okay. Let me suppose that the frequency of this clock signal was f. In that case, the frequency of TS0 is f by 8, right? F by 8, and TS1 again it is f by 8. That means the frequency is same of both the signal. The duty cycle is different. Now we will discuss in next application. We will discuss how we can change the frequency. How we can change the frequency. I think you should be able to understand what mean by the frequency. Let me draw a signal with different frequency. So suppose this is your one signal, fine. This is let me say this is signal 1. What suppose signal 2 looks like this one. Okay. Can you analyze the frequency is different here? Same as you, suppose we have another signal like this one. Fine. So in this case you can analyze, although the duty cycle is also changing here, but the point is the frequency is being changed here, right? Because in this case this clock signal was completing one cycle in this period. In this case it is completing in this period. In this case it is completing in this period. So the frequency of the signal is being changed. How we can generate signal with different frequencies using the counter? Okay. So the next application is generating clock of different frequencies. Again, it would be very simple idea how we can do that. We are going to use a counter here. So this is your counter. I am assuming that we are going to use a modulo 5 counter. Which counter you will use, that will depend on the application and the requirement, right? So just to explain the concept, I am just assuming that this is a modulo 4 counter. We are applying a clock signal here. Okay. Suppose this is your clock signal here. This is okay. Let me redraw it. Okay, fine. Now we want to produce another clock signal with different frequency. Fine. Suppose I want to change the frequency. I want to reduce the frequency by 50%. So it's the signal look like this one. Sorry. What I'm doing. For this is one, this is one. Okay, here it will go high and then it is fine. So I want to produce a signal like this. Fine. You can analyze the frequency of this clock signal is now 50% of the previous one. Fine. How we can do that? Again, this is a modulo 4 counter. So there would be two outputs. Assuming the outputs are like S0 and S1, right? So we can say that the S0 and S1 would be like this one, 0 0 0, sorry, 0 1 1 0 1 1. Fine. That's how the counter will perform, right? It will go with, start with 0th state, it will go up to 3, and then it will come back to 0th state. Fine. And we want to produce a signal like this one. So can you analyze that I can produce this type of clock by this one? If I'll apply the S0 to this AND gate and this clock signal to this AND gate, it will produce me the clock 1 signal. Are you able to analyze this thing? What's going on here? You can analyze